or the respect within the countries.
US President Donald Trump reiterated his threats against Iran this week, and he's now set to be considering another preemptive war against Iran. Whether or not this will get rid of the Ayatollah regime, that is still an open question. But Trump posted on social media earlier this week that Tehran's leaders have to make a deal to stop their nuclear program or they will be held to pay. There is nothing on the ground to show that Iran has made any significant progress in the last 6 months to enhance its nuclear program. Back in June of last year, America and Israel had carried out massive bombings on 3 of Iran's top nuclear sites. At that time, Trump had triumphantly declared that Iran's nuclear program had been obliterated. But now he's making the same threat again and offering the same carrot of nuclear talks at the same time. As a result, there are multiple questions about the timing and the motive behind Trump's saber-rattling. Are his threats simply intended to bring Iran back to the nuclear negotiation table? Would a military strike, if it happens, against the nuclear program only be a pretext to oust Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader? Why have Trump's stated reasons for targeting Iran shifted back to the nuclear program after he initially said he was seeking to defend the protesters? In fact, he had explicitly told those protesters on social media that help is on its way. They had mounted a powerful challenge to the regime, but the regime crushed it down. Trump was asked about it in this week's cabinet meeting, and this is what he had to say.
I have had, and I am planning on it, yeah. We have a lot of very big, very powerful ships sailing to Iran right now, and it would be great if we didn't have to use them. I told them 2 things. Number 1, no nuclear, and number 2, stop killing protesters. They're killing them by the thousands. You know, I stopped 837 hangings 2 weeks ago, but they're going to have to do something. Nobody's seen anything like this.
A second American military campaign in Iran, depending on its scope and scale, could be far more destabilizing to the region. And here's why. First among them is the belief inside the White House that the recent protests in Iran, combined with the dire economic situation in the country, have so weakened the regime that American or Israeli military action could hasten the collapse of the regime. Second, an assessment among Israeli intelligence agencies is that an Iranian counter-strike using ballistic missiles could focus on large cities in Israel and not any other part of the region, including American military bases in the Middle East. Israel had successfully defended Iranian missile attacks last summer. The Department of War has backed up President Trump's threats, beginning with a large military buildup in the Middle East. That includes the USS Abraham Lincoln, one of the biggest aircraft carriers in the world, various destroyer ships that are capable of firing long-range missiles, fighter jets, refueling capabilities, missile defenses have all, an entire armada has been flown into the Persian Gulf.
When President Trump said, we're not getting a nuclear Iran, you won't have a nuclear bomb, he meant it. And we sent those B-2s halfway around the world, and they never noticed. When he said, we're not going to tolerate trafficking drugs anymore in our hemisphere, we treat them like the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, he meant it, and we're executing that. When you said, Mr. President, we're securing the border, the military was proud to do their part alongside Homeland Security to do that. Same thing with Iran right now, ensuring that they have all the options to make a deal. They should not pursue nuclear capabilities. We will be prepared to deliver whatever this president expects of the War Department.
But Trump officials are not very clear about what the objective of such a military operation would be, even if the president gave his go-ahead for one. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was pressed at a Senate hearing this week about what would happen if Iran's government were to fall. What replaces it? He didn't seem to have a very definitive answer, but he gave ample indication that an attack on Iran could be imminent. For all you know, it could also be a bluff. With the Trump folks, one can never tell.
So I don't think anyone can give you a simple answer as to what happens next in Iran if the supreme leader and the regime were to fall, other than the hope that there would be some ability to have somebody within their systems that you could work towards a similar transition. I would imagine it would be even far more complex than the one we're describing now, because you're talking about a regime that's in place for a very long time. So that's going to require a lot of careful thinking if that eventuality ever presents itself. We have to have enough force and power in the region, just on a baseline, to defend against that possibility. That at some point, as a result of something, the Iranian regime decides to strike at our troop presence in the region. The president always reserves the preemptive defensive option.
Trump officials say the president may be taking a similar approach to Iran as he did to Venezuela, where the United States amassed forces just off the coast for months as part of a pressure campaign to oust Nicolas Maduro. Efforts to convince Maduro to leave Venezuela failed, and in that case, it led to an American attack. The Delta forces in a special operation attacked the presidential palace. They captured Maduro and his wife. But here's the thing, Iran is not Venezuela. It has sophisticated military options, including ballistic and cruise missiles. It's got terror proxies in the Middle East, from Houthis to Hezbollah to Hamas, all of which may be considerably weakened after a sustained war with Israel, but they are still useful cannon fodder. And most importantly, the Iranian regime is not a one-man enterprise. While Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is the supreme leader, there are multiple power centers. There is the Guardian Council, which has overriding powers, and now increasingly the Revolutionary Guards, or the IRGC, who are an elite military force numbering about 150,000, who answer only to the supreme leader. They are ideologically sworn to protect the regime and not the people. Also, in Venezuela, as is being increasingly apparent now, the Americans cut a deal with Maduro's number two, Delcy Rodriguez, and her powerful brother Jorge Rodriguez to sell out Maduro. Delcy was quickly replaced as the head of the country after Maduro was ousted, but in Iran, there is no such visible successor to Khamenei. Neither is there any large-scale desertion from the top brass of the IRGC over to the side of the protesters. So for now, the iron hand of the state in Iran has prevailed over the protesters. The protests have been crushed, and the game of who blinks first with America has just begun.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.